Hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is the one and only Mr. Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
What's up?
Today we have a very special episode because we are welcoming back Southern Hospitality, which we were so happy to see got a second season. We felt we were afraid we were the only ones watching the show, but they got a second season out of it because the first season was hilarious and wonderful. So we're going to talk about that. Before we even dive into that, we're also going to talk Below Deck Med. We're not doing a full recap this week, but we're going to touch on it here before we get into the Southern Hospitality. Before we dive into all of that, thanks everyone who came to Crappy Hour. If you missed it, it's still up on our social media. And of course, the episode is in our feed. So go listen to that. Be sure you're subscribed to this show and not just listening, because that way you get all these episodes and you always know where they are. And we're on Crappens On Demand. Hi, Crappens On Demand people. Sorry, forgot to play the little jingle at the beginning. My bad. If you want to watch us, not just listen to us, go to patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens and you support on the Crappens On Demand level. You can watch these videos and you also get access to our weekly bonus episode. Our bonus this week, of course, Vanderpump Rules trailer breakdown. Trailer trash. It's going to be great. So everyone, that's all the news. So patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens in case I didn't say that. And
All right,
now,
let's get into it. So now, Below Deck Mediterranean. If you were looking for a recap last week, there's just too much. There's too much. So it's on the Salt Lake City, right, Ben?
no, last week, didn't we do a full recap last week? We did a full recap last week, didn't we?
We did? Well, no, I
I
think we
think it was
did a
the week.
half.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't
Well,
remember.
if we don't have a
If there
full
was
one
a
up,
week we missed, it's at the beginning of another recap.
it was at the beginning of Salt Lake City, either last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So if you're missing it, go check it out. But yeah, we're just gonna give mini caps because honestly, this show, like as much as we enjoy this show, and we do, it's never ending. I mean, I guess Housewives are never ending too, right? Currently, there are four of them on, and it's literally the same thing every week on everyone. But we still love that, we don't mind the repetition. But Below Deck is literally sometimes just watching people work. So if we're gonna skip something, it's watching people clean a toilet. Now, that said, it really is hard to miss this one because when there's someone who gives you rage like Kyle, that's a
Yeah.
fun thing. It's fun. I love rage. I love feeling rage flow through me. So I hate missing out on a full rage fest. So we still have to do a little bit
Yeah.
at the beginning of this recap.
And this was this episode of Below Deck Med was Kyle pulling sympathy cards for the audience. Everything was like, oh, I feel like this is Kyle at 21, not Kyle at 31. It takes me all the way back there because he's upset because people don't like him because he's been a monster. And so, have the new girl and you have Jack, the chef, who don't really feel like talking to him. Jack is icing him out. And Jack is the only one who seems to understand how to deal with someone like Kyle, which is that he's just not going to engage with him. Jack is like, when you talk to Kyle, what he does is he feeds off of it. He feeds off of confrontation. So I'm just not going to give it to him. And it works. Kyle cannot deal. But the new girl, she makes things nice by the end of the episode. But Kyle is now doing the whole crying, calling his boyfriend, standing up on the deck while an opera singer sings and patting his eyes like Candace with a handkerchief, feeling sad for himself for being a terrible person.
Yeah, and part of it worked on me. Part of whatever manipulation did work on me. Because at one point I was like, I think maybe Kyle just doesn't really understand how gross he is. Like he just doesn't know. And so when he's confronted by people not just making nice with him, like he's not getting the drama from Jack or Lily, right? And they've both chosen until this episode, damn you, Lily, they've both chosen to just blow him off and treat it like it's no big deal. And that's when someone like Kyle starts spiraling out of control. But I'm like, maybe he just doesn't see how terrible he is. But then when he pulled it around to like, this is 21-year-old Kyle, basically insinuating bullying, like this is like what it was like when I was bullied or closeted, and I can't believe that this is still, this is what I'm dealing with now. And he kind of turned it to that way where I was like, okay, well, I felt for you for a good 5 minutes. Listen, if you want to get me to feel for you, cry. I will always
Mm.
fall for crying. If I see some real tears, I will be like, I feel for you. But then it evaporated very, very quickly because he just can't
But
help himself. Like immediately after, he's like, and guess who's on my radar now? It's like, oh,
yeah. Well, and also these did not feel like real tears. He was just like at one point when he is standing on the deck while there's an opera singer singing to the guests, and he's just dabbing his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, where is me?" I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. Look, I will hold space for the fact that his upbringing was probably very, very challenging. Being a closeted gay boy in a conservative family, perhaps in a conservative community, yada, yada, yada. That all comes with a huge amount of trauma and difficulty, and it manifests in ways. And so on some level, I feel badly for him that like this is the manifestation of all that. The way he acts, the way he pits people against each other, it speaks to deep insecurities and self-loathing that comes from that period of his life, etc. I feel bad for that. But that being said, he still is doing this stuff, and I can't. I feel worse for the people who are the victims of his insecurity and his like the way he behaves and the way he pits people against each other. I feel worse for those people than I do for Kyle because they are innocent victims to his self-loathing and he needs to get help. If that makes sense. It's like I can only feel so bad for Kyle because he can't talk about being 31 and having like oh I'm older and wiser now, and yet he's not doing things to change
well, I
his
think
behavior.
I think if his conversation with the audience was more like, you know what, I'm horrible, and I've always
Yeah.
been horrible, and how do I stop being horrible? Okay, that would be a conversation that I would
Be very sympathetic, right? Because we
you
all
know, yeah,
understand
you'd be
that.
sympathetic because you're like, okay, I have that conversation with myself all the time where I'm like, why am I so negative? Or how come every time I make a comment, it has to sound like that? Like this, just the tone is just like, meh, meh, meh. Like I have a lot of things with myself that even when I want to work on things with myself or try or go to therapy or read a self help book or whatever it is that I just can't seem to get on top of. And I guess we all kind of have that, right? Where we all want something to be better about ourselves or something to be different. So I get that, but he's not being that way. He's like, why are they being like this to me? You know what I mean? He's
Exactly.
saying like, why am I miserable? He is saying that. And that's kind of where I felt for him because I was taking that at the beginning, a little of when he started the whole like I'm just miserable and like why am I so miserable and I can't stand being miserable. Part of me started to feel for him there because I was like, okay, well, maybe he means like, why am I such a miserable human being? And how do I change this? Like, are these patterns in me that I can change? But no, that's not what he was saying. He was like, why am I miserable? Everybody's making me miserable. And this is so exhausting. Everybody being so miserable to me is
I'm
so
being
exhausting.
bullied.
I can't
Feels
take
like
it,
bullying. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'll amend what I'm saying, which is that, at 31, I mean, that's still pretty young. It's not like you just like, oh, I should be in therapy by now. Where you have that reasonable, like, I think people who are in their 40s who are still dealing with the damage of their childhoods or whatever, who are not in therapy, I'm like, okay, now you're too old. You have to be in therapy. You can't be making these same mistakes. 31 is
Oh,
still
well, I got
relatively
news for
young.
you. That shit never ends. I mean, it's like
It
it
never
really
ends.
is a
And
cycle. My grandmother
and
was going off about what happened in her childhood just as deeply at the end of her life as she ever was. My mom still does it. I still do it. It's like some weird thing where no matter
and
what
therapy
kind of
doesn't
therapy or whatever.
And therapy doesn't, it's not like like, it's like once you're in therapy, it's all fixed. It definitely is not. But it's more like my amendment to what I was saying about Kyle is more like it's sort of building off what you said, which is that there was no sense of self-awareness with him. There's not a sense of like, oh, I probably bring this on myself, or I always do, I do this, I pit people against each other because my own insecurity. It's more just like people are out to get me and I don't know what it is, and I just try to be a service queen and everyone just wants to undermine me at every chance. And it's like, no, that's not, no, you were actively undermining people at all times, and then they react to you, and then you're shocked that they react, that they don't necessarily like your behavior. And it's like that lack of self-awareness is what's really frustrating.
Yeah, but hilarious too because just having people who don't react to him or give him what he wants and just watching him cave, like immediately cave. Okay, so we've got this new chick, Lily, who is just awful. Like
Yeah,
she's literally
useless.
terrible. And she's such a nice person too. And she's like so cool and funny and fun. And you want to like Lily, but damn, she sucks. I mean, listen, not everybody's gonna be good at every job. But how many times you have to be told how to make a bed? I mean, this girl is like literally jumping on a bed to make it. Like nobody
Yeah.
wants your unsanitary ass. And I just mean because you're human, rolling all over their beds. Stop rolling on the beds. Like she's making the bed by like holding down one end and then jumping across it on top of the bed and then tucking it in the
Yeah.
walk around the bed, Lily. Walk around the bed. I've never felt more like a parental figure than screaming at someone this episode on how to make a bed.
And she does that thing where she says that something's done and it's not done at all. And it's driving Toomey mad and Jessica mad. And she's just like useless. She's very, very useless. And what's weird is that they're saying, like, oh my God, just 3 nights left, 3 nights left, and the season's over. But then what happens is at the end of the episode, basically Toomey tells Sandy that Lily is dead weight because Toomey gets in trouble because at the very top of the episode, Kyle is calling for deckhands to help with service, and so they have to. Sandy has to wake up Laura to help out with service, even though there's two stews that are downstairs that are working. So Sandy later on is like, hey, you know what? Hey, tip meeting everyone. Toomey, if there's two stews downstairs, you gotta let one of them help with service before we wake up the deckhands, okay? Because I did that and I didn't know that's what was going on. So Toomey then clarifies, by the way, the reason why that situation was happening is because Lily is dead weight. And so Sandy calls up Lily to say, listen, I'm going to give you one more chance or something like that. But in my mind, Ronnie, what I'm all trying to get to is if there's 3 nights left, what is the point of saying you get one more chance? Are there going to be two charters in 3 days? I'm really confused.
Maybe. But also, Sandy does this thing where she thinks she can talk intelligence into people. And that's just not how it works, you know? And I actually really like Lily. But to me, it's like she's dead weight, she's zero help. And Sandy's like, you know what? I'm going to talk to her. That's not going to help. You can't talk somebody into being competent. The girl's trying. I mean, she's not just lying around, which you can say, for her. She's not being lazy. She's just really, really dull. And she's trying, she even whips out, listen, and I think we all do this. When I have a problem and I really want to get my shit together, do you know what I say? I'm whipping out
What?
my iPad. Every time I'm whipping out my iPad. For some reason, that makes me feel smarter, especially when there's a keyboard on it. And that's what
Yeah.
she's doing, where she's like, I have an iPad and it has a keyboard. So I'm just writing things down as a list. Because you know what? It's more efficient writing it down on an iPad than it is on paper. So here, I'm going to write a list: 5 towels, 4 hand towels, 3 toilet papers. Wrote it on the iPad. It doesn't help. Now you're just in a corner on a fucking iPad. Like, what do you have to go to the coffee shop and like listen to music and drink some coffee while you write your fucking thing? This is not for you to be inspired. Get the fucking toilet paper. Like, you can't make someone smarter. And it's frustrating to even see somebody have that talk. Now, another thing that's frustrating, because it doesn't work, is what I mean. Another thing that's frustrating is, to me, like, I like Toomey, and I think she gets better. I think she's getting better at handling everything as she gets used to the season going on. But I think her main flaw is just shit talking the people instead of saying like, "Listen, here's what I've noticed about you, Lily. You move really slowly." She's like, "You know what, Lily? Jess came up to me and told me that you're dead weight." Like, you can't say that. Stop doing that.
She really is bad at that. Yeah, she has to just even though most people can deduce where the complaint comes from, you have to you got to like protect the people who are coming to you who have like reasonable issues. And you just have to say, "Lily, it's been brought to my attention you're taking a long time. You need to speed up," or whatever it is. Like, you don't even say it's been brought to my attention. Just say, "Lily, you're taking too long." Yada yada. But yeah, she keeps on throwing people's names under the bus, and so this I mean, I think it's been years since we've seen an interior that's been this dysfunctional all season long. And
Well, what it
yeah, as much as I
does
like
is like, I
Toomey,
mean, you
she's
should
not
be
doing
able
a
to
good
go to your
job.
boss and say, you should be able to go to your boss and say, listen, I have a problem with so and so. That's how you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed to go to the person and be like, I have a problem with you, and here it is. I mean, maybe in real life, that's what you do. You confront it head on. But in work, you don't do that. You have to go to your
Yeah.
boss and you have to work. That's just the proper channel. So when you do that, and then your boss turns around and like rats you out to the person that you were just talking about, it's not like Jess was saying anything mean about her, it's like to go rat her out. She was just doing her job by telling you. And so
Yeah.
for you taking that and using it against her, and now you've pit the employees against each other again. And now you've got this girl, Lily, all upset on a personal level. And now she's fighting with Jess. And you did that. What the hell?
Yeah. The other thing is Haley, the deckhand, she feels sick. So she's throwing up. She's barely been on the season. So I was like laughing that she actually had like something to do in the episode, and that was to throw up. And then the other big thing that happened in the episode was that one of the guests, this guy Amish, he was awful. He gets really wasted. He's one of those guests that like goes to like everyone's gone to sleep and he's gone to sleep, but then he comes out again, and he's walking around drunkenly, and he starts going into the crew mess, and then he starts going into the quarters, and he like knocks on doors and then just opens them. And you can't blame the alcohol on that one because you know what you're doing. Like these are not the guest rooms. He's pretending like they're the guest rooms. He's like calling out for his friend or something, and he'll like knock and open the doors. You just can't do that. Like that like if any of the women I think had been in a state of like undress, that would have been like a major issue. And this guy was awful, and so Sandy had to have a meeting with a primary and say like he's got to be put under control, otherwise he's gonna be off the boat. I'm actually surprised he wasn't kicked off the boat in general.
Well, he sure cleaned up his act, though, after that.
Yeah.
Man, once he got in trouble. And then the guy who doesn't seem to know Mull at all, like the main dental implant guy who hired an opera singer for his wife's birthday. Was it his birthday or his wife? It was his birthday, right?
I'm not even sure.
And he hired an opera singer. When the opera singer came, he's like, guys, I just wanted to do something that we're going to remember the rest of our lives. And she's like, and he's like, oh my God. He's like crying. He's like, I'm buckling. So that guy's actually like kind of sweet, but he had to have this talk with Amish, and he's like, okay, so, yep, had a conversation with the captain about you, and, going into the cruise, you're going to get kicked off the boat. Okay, great talking to you. Great talking to you. And then Amish really just cleaned up his act. I don't think he said another word the entire time.
He said nothing, and then on the last day, he went up to Captain Sandy and was like, "Hey, thanks for everything this trip. It was really great. You did a great job. I was really impressed." Which I think is his way of saying, "Yeah, sorry, I was a drunken mess. I won't."
Yeah, he even said, like, I just want to say that before I fuck everything up again or something. And she's like, be a good boy. You go be a good boy now.
I actually really like the way Captain Sandy handled that, to be honest. Even though I just said, "Oh, I'm surprised he wasn't kicked off the boat," the way that she told the primary, she was so matter of fact and was just like, "This is the situation." I was actually impressed. I was like, that was a good way to deal with it, because for me, since I'm bad at confrontation, it would have been like this. Yeah, so Amish, well, anyway, he was drunk and he was going into rooms, and like, I mean, he can go into rooms. It's fine. Like, I don't mind. I mean, he can go. I mean, well, you know what? He can go. Never mind. Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye. That's how I would have handled it. Bye.
Oh. Well, the chaos continues to grow and spin out of control. And they did keep, like you mentioned, they kept saying, okay, only 3 nights left, guys, only 3 nights left. Oh, we didn't talk about, so once the charter is over, it's crew go out night. So they all go out, and Kyle is, earlier he was saying something, oh, and Jack is now my target because Jack is coming for me. Nah, 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 nah. But now that they go out, Jack is still not talking to him, but not in a shitty way where Kyle can cry victim. He's not acting
Doesn't
like, oh, I
care.
can't sit. I think he's sitting right next to him, like he sits down right next to him. So he's not acting like he's a leper or something. But everybody is like, okay, let's have a good night, guys. No drama. And Kyle's like, well, speaking of, Jack, you and I are going to have a talk, which of course he has to do in front of the entire fucking table to both make it look like he's a good person, also to remind people that he's a victim, and C, to start. Was I counting or doing letters?
You went from
1,
A to
2,
C,
3
but I can
letters?
give you, yeah. But while you come up with B, I just want to say this is all after Kyle
that
says,
was C. I was about to do C.
Okay, well, I was going to say that he had just before that said to everyone, By the way, I'm going to get drunk tonight, so I apologize ahead of time for anything I say, which was his way of saying, like, I'm about to talk some massive shit about all of you, especially
All right.
Jack.
C was, yeah, to start, of course, start some major drama because he's been without it. So I think at this point, he's like, okay, I'm going to fight with Jack, right? So they're like, oh God. And Toomey's like, boys, behave yourselves. So he's like, and I just want to say, Jack, do we need to have a talk? Because the way that you're behaving. And Jack's like, you don't need to care so much. Like, that's what I could say about you. You're making up all this drama in your head. I don't really care. Oh, really? You will never. I really don't care to fight with you. He's like, all right, bros then. We're bros then, right? You will never say you're not my bro. I'll tell you that much. He's like, all right, fine. Like we're fine.
Now I can drink for joy and not to forget. So they're fine because Jack really doesn't give a shit about Kyle. Like Jack is truly, the expression, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. Jack was indifference. Jack is just like, okay, this guy's a piece of shit. I don't care. I'm not going to spend any energy. And it worked because, like you said, if Jack had made a big fuss about like, I'm not talking to you and I'm sitting across the table, that's what Kyle would feed off of. But Jack, like, just like, the guy was just immaterial to Jack, and it was great. It was great to see it happen. So
Well,
that was
also,
the
we
big.
saw Lily apologize because it's easier for Jack to ignore Kyle than it is for Lily, right?
Right, she has to
Lily
work
is
with
like in a
him.
position, she doesn't know what she's doing. She's in the middle of all these people who know a lot more than her, and she's already feeling stupid. She doesn't really have any friends. They're already all bonded. And then Kyle just starts giving her the cold shoulder and giving her one word answers and is a total asshole to her. And so she finally has to apologize. She's like, it just look. I mean, it seems like you're a real good guy. Which I don't know where you got that impression, but like you seem like a
Yeah.
really good guy. And I didn't mean it the first night when you were saying stuff to me. I didn't really know what you were talking about. Well, we were just talking about banter. And he's like, oh, thank you so much for your apology. Then you were forgiving.
You chose the right time to say it. It's like, oh, thanks, master of apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had to do it. And he's basically like, you're so welcome. And thank you. That meant a lot. And also, by the way, going forward, don't put the iron in the drawing machine. It's not going to be very helpful. Okay, great. Bye. So, and the other thing is, the other thing was that Natalia is texting everyone. So Natalia's texting Luca. Natalia's texting, there's someone else, Jack, I think. So she's still texting, and we see in the trailer that she comes and joins them on land at some point. I don't know if that's gonna be for the finale or not, but she's still around. So
Yes, she's
that was
still
pretty
she's
much.
gonna come back and spread her reign of terror. So we'll see.
Yeah. So that was pretty much what happened on Below Deck Med this week. Now let's pivot over to Southern Hospitality. So, Southern Hospitality, messy, messy show. It's like little baby Vanderpump Rules. So, season one of Vanderpump Rules was beautifully messy, and season one of this show was beautifully messy, and then season two of Vanderpump Rules was even messier and wonderful. And so far, season two of this show looks like it's going to be heading in that same direction, which makes
Well,
me
it's always
happy.
fun. I love this show. It's an old waiter back in my day. An old service queen myself. Of course, I love waiting table shows. And this one is so funny because it's in this town, Charleston, where they all feel like they're like superstars and the next Hollywood because of Southern Charm, right?
Yeah.
So there's all these influencers there now, and they really feel like they're hot shit. And season two of any show, people come back with season two face on, where they're like, okay, this is what people think of me, and I know the game now, and this is what I'm gonna do. Dun, dun, dun. And it's just so funny to me, the things that they came back with. Like Emmy and Will decided that they're gonna come back and get revenge on Maddie, who I don't think ever
Yeah.
did anything to them. But they're like, you know what? We're going to have a Maddie takedown. See, everyone's decided like this is going to be a huge Maddie takedown season. And
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny. It's like, what is she even a captain? Like, what is she considered at the job? Like, she's so nice to
I
you.
don't
She doesn't
know.
even tell you guys to stop drinking. Like, why are you taking down Maddie? What'd she do? She went to Tulum. That's all we know about her.
Emmy spends like the entire episode slinking around corners, listening in on Maddie, and having a look on her face like, "What?" She's like in a murder mystery. It's just like some sort of like silly murder mystery from like the 40s, where she's listening in and saying, "I just hid something. What?" And, like she's just like behind a rack, behind a door frame, just listening in on Maddie.
She literally improvised or pantomimed herself holding a glass up to and up to her ear and going, "Whoa!"
What? By the way, Emmy is really becoming my favorite, really just because of her apartment. I have to say, like, I was impressed last season, but I'm even more impressed this season because she keeps her studio apartment immaculate. Like, that is a beautiful studio apartment. And, you know, when we all know the Vanderpump Rules apartments, they were these wretched, sad, carpeted, decaying, refrigerated places where the microwave and the air conditioner cannot be on at the same place. Just these like rat infested domiciles. And I have to say, you know, all these Emmy could have followed in those footsteps, and she has a beautiful studio apartment. Everything's clean, everything's painted, and I just feel like she needs to be applauded for putting some effort into making her little studio apartment television ready.
Yeah, well, I think it's a little unfair because we constantly give TJ shit for always vacuuming. And that brings me to my first complaint, which is why didn't we get any shots of TJ vacuuming? You guys
Yeah.
can't give us an entire season that revolves around TJ vacuuming his apartment and then come back this season and we don't see him vacuum a once. Not a once.
That was shocking. That was really shocking. I was upset about that. I was hoping we would see just a little bit more of TJ passing judgment on people. I actually got used to that. Like I used to hate it, but now it's actually something I'm like tuning in for. And I was waiting to see more of him standing behind the bar saying, "Well, she just walked in," because that was his whole thing. Last season was like Mikkel walked in, and they're like, "Guess is back. Mikkel just walked in. Can you believe it? After everything that he did." But now TJ was just sort of like there. It wasn't right.
Because TJ is naturally like that. He's like naturally persnickety. Like I really do think he's like a young version of the church lady from SNL, the
Yeah.
Dana Carvey character. Like
Yeah, he
who
is.
did that? Satan. You know, like really persnickety, just judgy gay, and I fucking love it. And I think maybe he's coming back a little bit more reserved because he got a lot of hate last season for being like that. And so
Yeah.
maybe he came back a
From
tiny
us.
bit reserved, but everybody else came back extra TJE, and so it's making us not really see TJ as much because everybody else came back like, "I'm gonna be a fucking mess this season. You wait."
Yeah, especially Mia. Mia really tried hard. She's like, "I'm gonna have a moment," and Leva's like, "You're fired." Wait, what?
Okay. So let's start going through this from the beginning. So we open with clips from last summer, random snippets on what went down. So Maddie just like trying to convince herself that she's like really happy. Like, I'm with Trevor now. I'm like, we are really happy. So here's what happened to me last season. Republic is everything. I went to Tulum where I saw Grace Lily, but then like we both like the same guy, so she got like totally pissed off at me for no reason. I'm totally sober, which you can absolutely tell from every single confessional I have, like this one. And I ended up getting the man of my dreams, the guy who rides the horse and buggy bike. What do they call him, Ben? What does he call it? The bike? The bicycle buggy?
The
Bicycle buggy king.
yeah, the it's like a rickshaw, like an urban rickshaw, or I guess
Yeah.
rickshaws are urban. It's
Rickshaw.
like a bike, but I feel like it's not a rickshaw. It's like it's just a it's a bike taxi.
Okay. So she's like, "I'm happy." That's her. That's basically her season. And then we see her making out with Trevor a lot. And then everyone else, it just keeps cutting to the rest of the cast being like, "I hate Trevor."
You know what? You know what? I want to wish one thing for my birthday. That Trevor would die. I hate Trevor.
Like everybody hates this guy.
Yeah, and no one hates him more than Joey Marbles, also known as Joey Bottles, also known as just Joe Bradley. And he's like, "Trevor cheated on Maddie, and like she went back to him. Like it's just like terrible. Like, hey, he already cheated on you once. I don't know why you would go back."
Why would you go back to someone who cheated on your Joy Marbles? So then we
Yeah,
see
I'm on a
Trevor and
rip-off.
Maddie fucking in the motorhome on their way to NASCAR when they were taking their
Yeah.
their glamorous group vacation to NASCAR.
NASCAR in Charlotte. And then Joe's like, Trevor's like a stereotypical douche in a movie. Like, once a cheater, always a cheater. Yeah, he just got marbled. Yeah.
And now,
so then we see
coming up this summer on Southern Hospitality, fucking Leva. You know, there are a lot of lottery winners. So, look, my point is we know that luck exists. Okay. Like, I'm not going to go down the whole list of people who have been lucky. Lottery winners, I think, is general enough that we all get it. I don't think anyone is luckier than Leva. Leva has she has like less than zero charisma or presence at all, and she doesn't even want to be here. How is Leva even here? It's like they plucked Leva out of nowhere. She just comes and she's like, welcome to an entire show centered around me, Southern Hospitality. Why am I even here? Why are you making me do this? Like, who is holding a gun to Leva's head? They gave you your own show. Perk up.
I enjoyed Leva. And generally speaking, I've often enjoyed people without charisma on these shows, just because I find them fascinating. And they gave us a new one, Leva's new
God.
sidekick, Leah, which we'll get into.
Amazing.
So
This is amazing
Leah's my
casting.
favorite. Like, I love Leah. So so this summer, Maddie's saying, I believed him, and when he said he would never do it again, and he cheated. And everyone's like, yeah, it's Trevor. Hello. We told you so. So she's like, you told me you would never do it, text her again. You lied to me, Trevor.
And then everyone having to hold her back and her being like, you need to stay the fuck away from my boyfriend. Like, what did you fuck my boyfriend? You are fucking trash. And everyone's just holding her back like, don't do it. Don't ruin your life as a assistant manager to bottle girls.
Your DJ career is just about to explode. Don't do this. Don't do this, Maddie.
And that was like our big coming up this season. So, they've changed our uniforms, right? What were their uniforms before? Because now they're doing this like
changed.
Lisa Vanderpump pink satin kind of cocktail dress / prom dress ball gown thing.
Their uniforms are always different. I mean, last season, famously, like their first uniform was like this fluorescent green thing that they wore that covered up like, barely an areola. And I say that not from a prudish place, but just because they were all wearing it, and Leva's like, I'm all about female empowerment, and I just want to see women supporting women. I just want women to win. Now wear this nipple cover as your dress. So, but I think it changes from like night to night at Republic. Am I wrong? Like from event to
Well,
event?
I noticed that Maddie was wearing a pink one, and then Grace Lily was wearing a blue one, so I don't know. So 6 weeks earlier, before all this drama, I think we opened this way last year, or at least it's the first scene I remember. You know how you don't remember the first thing that ever happened in your life, but there's like something so impactful that's your first memory? I think my first memory of the show was Joey Marble's naked getting out of the shower. And it's an old tradition started by Vanderpump Rules with the guys. It's unfortunately carried on with Shep in Southern Charm, which is yikes. Nobody needs it. But God, Joey Marbles, what a cute little butt. So glad to have you back to sexually harass. And you too, Will. Ding.
Yeah, Will gets a very long and extended butt scene. It was up on screen for a while. So and we see Bradley doing push-ups. That's right, because there's Joey Marbles is Joe Bradley, but then there's also a Bradley, right? Like it's confusing.
Yes.
So
it is confusing.
and then Maddie's over at Trevor's place, and Trevor's shaving. Trevor really looks like maybe like Theodore from Alvin and the Chipmunks, right? Like it's kind of like this is who she decided. Like she's going to like isolate herself from all her friends for this Theodore-looking guy, and he's shaving, and she's like, "Wait a second, are you gonna shave your whole beard?" He's like, "No, because then you'd be dating like an 18-year-old if I did that." And they're like, yeah, you'd be like Justin Bieber. Be great.
Yeah, and so we see a clip of them when they first met, and he's like a little kid with his dad. It's a weird picture to show. I don't know. And then she's like, well, I've been sober for 9 years, and recovery taught me that like people get second chances because, I had to fight for my own life. So I got second chances. And so, Trevor and I are living together, and we're happy, and I'm in love. Okay, wait. Second chances, that was you giving yourself, that was you earning it. You know what I mean? Like sobering up is you actually making an effort and earning it.
You made a
Trevor didn't
change
do
in your
anything to
life.
earn it. He just showed back up the second there were cameras up again. Come on.
Yeah, you get a second chance because you made a fundamental shift and change in your life. He literally just refilled the air on his bike taxi. like there's nothing different about him. So she's basically using like her sobriety as a shield for critics who are saying like, why are you back with this schmuck? So Trevor pulls out a charcuterie board from his fridge. He's like, I didn't have breakfast, but I have a charcuterie board. And she's like, wait a second, you made this? Look at you being a housewife. And it's just like a little tray with like 4 pieces of prosciutto and some grapes on it. And she's like very impressed.
Gotta love that charcuterie. And he's like, yeah, and also I'm gonna take out the trash later. She's like, oh my God, marriage. So she's like, you know what this is like? This is like looking into the future and like seeing something in the future. Like not today, but like in the future. Maybe today. I mean, if you wanted today, I would do today. But like not today, but like in the future. This is not today, but like soon. Not long, but soon.
Yeah. It's like I can see already when I'm the ripe old age of 38 and we're eating charcuterie for breakfast then. And it's just like we're having charcuterie for breakfast now. And it's like, wow, this is our future. It's amazing.
Despite everyone always being against my relationship, like I saw him as my soulmate. Okay, you're dumb. And I hope you feel dumb that they keep playing these clips because they're really rubbing it in right now to poor Maddie, who ends up getting fucked over literally by the end of the episode. I mean, I thought it would take at least until episode 3 or 4, but wow, they just jumped right into it.
Yeah. So she's like, all right, well, I got to go work bottle service now. You know, I like being showered with love and respect and food. I thought you were going to say sex. Yeah, and sex too. God, I love looking into our future.
So now they're playing like kind of military music, and we see because they're going to work at Republic, which is, you guys, you have to be so disciplined at Republic. It's like being in the military. So we go and we see the line outside of Republic, and they're playing a song that's like big moves on the circuit, big moves on the circuit. This is basically some homely people who no one's told them they're home. I don't know how to explain the crowd outside of Republic, but the way they talk about Republic and then sing the crowd, I was like, is there a Tommy Bahama shirt sale? Like, what's happening?
They always act as if they have the hottest club in Vegas or in Miami. Like this is the hottest ticket to get an Art Basel week in Miami. But in reality, it's basically people who just came from like the Bass Pro Shop who now want to go out dancing afterwards. Like, yeah, Republic is the #1 place to go to after Topgolf, and we serve the clientele that way.
It's the after bar for Topgolf.
Yeah.
So we see shots of the bar, which I still cannot tell how big this place is. It looks like a hallway. It doesn't look very big. And we hear that it's very small too. So it's not like my eyes are doing all that much work. We hear it's really tiny, but it's amazing how they shoot it to look like it could be bigger, right? But it's not.
Yeah,
it's
they
like
make
a
it
tiny
look
little hallway.
enormous. They literally make it look like a towel. But people have actually messaged us and said, oh, I went to Republic and it was tiny. So they do great work at making it seem huge. And, TV does that, but it looks enormous. So we also meet the new VIP server. As his name, it looks like it's spelled Oisin, but I think it's Oisin, how they said his name?
They say
Oisin?
Oisin, but then someone calls him Oshin. So I don't know if it's like
Oshin.
Ocean. Dun, dun, dun. But he's a douche. He's a total douche, which I love. He's like a long-haired, hot douche. I think is he from Ireland? Where is he from?
I think he's from Tulum. I think he might, well, I don't know. I mean, his accent sounds.
He talks like that, doesn't he? Talks like that. Well, that's not Irish either, isn't it? But sounds like that. He's talking like that.
You know what? There was an accent, and I think because they met him in Tulum, I just projected a Spanish accent onto him. And I wonder if it was like my brain playing a trick because I just heard Tulum.
You're going to hear Tulum a lot because we are watching Southern Hospitality. They say Tulum a lot on this show. I mean, they love Tulum. They love it. So
They love
Leva, Joey Marbles gives Oyson a fist bump. He's like, oi! So then Leva's like, Republic is like the true essence of Southern hospitality. Oh, really? Republic is the true essence of Southern hospitality. Leva, is it? It's like, yeah, that's why we've been in business for 10 years.
By the way, I think you're right because his last name, I looked him up on Instagram. His last name is O'Neill, and his little bio says marketing master for NKD Marketing and Bravo Southern Hospitality. But then he writes down IRE, EIRE, stands for Ireland. So I think you're correct.
There you go. There you
Good
go.
job.
Yeah. God, I was worried because Below Deck Med's ending, and I was like, where are we gonna, use a really terrible Lucky Charms accent again?
I'm
By the
so
way, there's
glad.
no one Irish on Below Deck Med this year.
No.
Still use it.
Bravo's a TV official site. According to his official Bravo bio, he's from Wicklow, Ireland. So Irish accent it is.
There you go.
There you go. So they met him in Tulum, which is where all of the sordid backstories for this show seem to come from, which I loved. I love that they were still like mining Tulum for more people and storylines.
So Leva's like, there's like tons of competition in Charleston, but people come to my club because my VIP team is going to always get the party started. Okay, do you even know what you're saying? Are you just reading these off cue cards? You know the plot for the rest of the show, right? Because you're literally leading it, Leva. I think it's still funny that they're still using this. Like, my team is going to party it up. Except that they don't party anymore because that's a rule, which is totally my idea. And we're putting it into effect right now, right when the camera started. Exactly right.
I have to say, Ronnie, when I go to a club, my first thought is, I really hope they have a good VIP team that's going to help my party get started because that's how I know I'll want to go to this club. It's always the first consideration is the quality of the VIP team.
Yeah, totally. Like when I go to Chili's, I really want to know that my waiter enjoys an awesome blossom just as much as I do. You know what I mean? Is it?
Yeah,
because
you know
Outback.
Outback is awesome blossom.
Bloomin'
No. Bloomin' Onion. Bloomin' Onion. Yeah. Either way, it's like when I go to a club, it's music. Who cares? Drinks. Who cares? Vibe. Who cares? VIP staff. Only priority for me. That's what I need. If they don't bring out a good sign with sparklers, then it's like, why even be there?
Like, I'm done. So it's a busy night in the club, and TJ, in his like persnickety shit starting little way, it's like,
Is Maddie here?
and they're like, no, where is Maddie? Well, Maddie's never here. So Chris, the new general manager, who's just kind of schlubby, he's kind of a Barney Rubble.
Yeah.
He goes and finds Maddie in the kitchen, and she's cleaning her shoes, and he goes, "What you doing, bud?" She's like, cleaning my shoes. They get dirty. All right, bud. Well, listen, bud, I'm going to need you in the meeting because I don't have time to relay this information again. All right. You're going to get it in the meeting, and that's it.
Yeah. So the big thing is that they have a new room for meetings. Because last year they were like sitting on basically paint canisters and
Isn't this the same room? Is it a different room?
I thought that they said it was a new room. I don't seem to remember a big vacant blue room. But I mean, there could have been. It's hard to remember. I have memories of every time they had a staff meeting, they were literally sitting on like bulk cases of Fabuloso. Like I don't remember like a big blue room with couches in it. But maybe it was. I don't know. Should have done my research.
So they're in the meeting, and Oyson's like, "Can't believe we're not allowed to have a bevy. Like, we're not allowed. Can you believe it?" And Maddie's like, "Yeah, I know. We're all really upset about it right now. But you know what? We just got to keep going. We just got to keep going."
So Leva says, sadly, over the past few years, we got a little loose with our rules. And we see like everyone getting drunk. We see Grace Lily, doing the Grace Lily thing. We see Mia being like, I'm so glad I can be here. I can work here and just like chill with a glass of champagne while I go on a break. So they're all getting
Yeah,
wasted on the
because like
job.
I'm in finance, and so it's like so nice to come to work and just chill because I'm in finance. So then back to Leva, she's like, "Yeah, it's my fault because like I do like to be a friendly boss. Like I'm not a fucking monster, Like I get first chances and second chances and third chances and like fourth chances and fifth chances." and 6. Leva, could you guys just edit out half of Leva's monologue? Why do I have to sit through it?
Yeah. So she goes, this year we're going back to the rule book. Here are your rules. Be on time, respect managers, don't drink, okay? Because I have a business to run. And if there's insubordination, you're fired. You're out. And then we see her.
I
She
would
now
just
has
like
a
to
new monitor.
request a new rule on there. Wash your hands, okay? Because I've seen this show. That rule needs to be somewhere on this show. Wash your fucking hands.
Yeah. I don't know. I understand why on Below Deck you don't want to have your staff drinking. Generally speaking, you don't want to have your staff drinking on the job. But I do feel like at a nightclub, it's probably okay. Like, I feel like that might be an exception to the case. It doesn't really bother me as much. There's no yacht that might crash. There's no heavy machinery necessarily. I don't know.
Well, she
feel
just
like-
said it in her line before, which is why I was cracking up that she even said it. She's like, my VIP party, it's going to make sure you're partying right, because they're like, she kind of insinuates that they're partying with you. And last year that was her thing. They were like, people come to Republic because we're the best people to party with, and we party with you. And you don't just get access to Republic, you get access to me. That was kind of their big thing. So for her to be like, oh, and now you can't drink when you party with the guys is it's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's weird.
it's a weird line
It's
to draw.
obviously trying to go for drama or trying to just fire people that maybe she wanted to fire anyway. I don't know.
Yeah. So now she has she has a screen of cameras in her office, like a giant wall. Which, by the way, half of them are not working. So how about like as long as we're revising the rules, why don't you fix your cameras? Because there was like 7 different like black screens on there. I'm like, this is not a very effective wall of security.
Yeah, you're a real Baldwin over there, Sliver. Okay, it's like that movie
Yeah.
Sliver where she's got like 20 video cameras. You don't even have room for 20 video cameras. What do you like? One is the outside of her garage at home. You know, like, well, I guess my husband's home, so that's good.
She has a camera on Gwen's. I just want to see what the parking situation's like if I go over there later.
I just want to see like who's buying like satin dresses with giant ruffles on them today. Basically,
I know. It was like the head of household room on Big Brother. So Grace Lily says, so in honor of Lucia not being here today, and everyone boos. So Lucia, who seemed to be one of the most responsible people on this show, actually got fired. That's what we find out.
yeah. Well, we all miss her, okay, guys. So here's what we're gonna do: we're gonna burn some sage because she loves sage. So in honor of Lucia, who's dead now, let's burn sage. And then we see a clip at Lucia's apartment. Her kid's like running around playing, and she's like, "I'm terminated by text message. I'm told Lucia Peña is no longer employed at Republic." And he's like, "Oh my God, you did drink on the job, and we're not supposed to drink on the job, right? Like, is that what happened? I'm in finance, so."
The numbers aren't adding up. And I say that as someone in finance. And Lucia's like, I just took one swig. And she's like, and you didn't get any warning from Republic at all? She's like, no, literally my first infraction in 7 years. And I'm fired.
And Mia's like, literally firing a single mother for a first offense? I mean, that is nuts. And then Mia's like, what the fuck, doodles? Because the kid's just sitting there, like staring.
Oh,
at them.
yeah.
So then we go back to the meeting, and Mia's like, guys, like, you know that before I started to work here, I was a patron here because I can afford to be finance. And Lucia was my favorite bottle service girl. So I'm just going to say that.
Well, maybe we should pass the sage around and we just sprayed it all over this room. And so Mia says, if Leva fired every employee, especially the ones that don't work in finance, that had a shot of alcohol in her establishment, she would have fired everybody except for Maddie, who's sober. What I'm trying to say is we all
So
drink.
Maddie and Joe come in, and Joe's like, I'm going to say some business stuff right now. So listen, guys, we're going to do a good job pushing people tonight, turning things over, really rolling over everything, turning. We're going to stack it, and we're going to pile it. Everybody got it? This is the business.
And Grace Lily, give them a good first impression at the front door. Give them your best. Come on in, come on in. I know you can kill it, Grace Lily. Just do it.
Now, I know you haven't actually worked here, since we stopped shooting. So just practice, okay, Grace? Give us, what are you going to say at the front door?
I'll blow you.
No, reel it in a little bit, Grace. Reel it in a little bit.
So Joe tells us, last summer was like not my brightest in the lady department. Ha ha ha. And they're like, yeah, Joe's an idiot. And they're just talking about how last summer Joe confessed his love for Maddie and then like 45 minutes later, I guess, made out with Mia and then told her that he was just like he really dropped the ball on that front.
Yeah, he like tried to profess his love for Maddie once she already was getting back together with Trevor. And then when he didn't get it with her, he tried with Mia and then was like, I mean, come on. When they both confronted him together, it's like, I mean, come on. I'm like hitting on you after I just like told my best friend I'm in love with her. Do you even think that was real? So he was kind of a douche.
Yeah, but they've forgiven him. Like Mia's just like whatever, like we're friends. So they're back to being. I guess they're all back to being friends right now. So Joe's like, oh yeah, I'm like done pining for Maddie and Mia no longer wants to rip my head off, which is great. Like I can just go back to being Joey Marbles. Ha ha ha. It's a new year. It's a new Joe, and I'm ready to get back in the game and start dating. Wink, wink. Yeah.
It's like really hard for me to wink. I'm gonna try winking. I like that they gave him like Joey Marbles 2.0. There's always got to be a guy who's coming back as the newest version of themselves on these shows. So Joe introduces Oysen on his first night as the new bottle boy. And Maddie's like, yeah, Grace, Lily, and I met Oysen in Tulum, because where else? And he's like, Team Money, that's what we're here for. Team Money, hussa. I was running a lot of events out in Tulum, secluded parties out in the middle of the jungle in Mexico.
I feel like his parties were all strange, like tantric sex, experiences. Like people would just get naked in the jungle, and then he'd pass around like ayahuasca or something like that, or some sort of strange beverages, like enjoy it out of a coconut, and then be like touching and feeling. Like I just imagine that's what his VIP experience was.
Yeah, this guy's fucking for money out in the middle of the jungle. He just doesn't want to pay for a hotel room. So Grace is like, yeah, he was dancing on the tables, dancing with all the hot girls. And Maddie's like, yeah, in an orange fucking Speedo, which was kind of oddly attractive. Like, we had a moment, but it was just a moment.
And he's like, I love girls. Amazing. So Maddie is like, so, hey, by the way, have you met Leah? She's the new CEO. She's here. You're going to meet her. So then we see Leah.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And then we see Leah, the most awkward person on this show, walking around like, I'm going to hand out an infraction to somebody. Who's going to get an infraction? Who's going to get an infraction? You got time to lean? You got time to clean? That's an infraction. Watch it, mister.
Leah is definitely, she is like you're watching a high school play and someone has to play the boss in the high school play, and that's Leah. She's like, I'm going to wear a business suit because this is what bosses wear.
Yeah, she wears like businessy clothes that just don't fit her right. My guess is that poor Leah does not have one well-tailored outfit that fits well. She's just walking around in a bunch of rayon things with collars going, infraction. And then we learn one of her favorite things to say later is, you know what we're going to do? Nip it in the bud. That's what we're going to do. We are about to nip this in the bud.
Yeah, she just looks like she just looks like a middle schooler dressed in adult clothes, going around being like, I'm the boss now, and I'm going to hand that in fractions. Nothing but in fractions. We're going to nip it in the bud. That's what bosses do.
So they ash out. The meeting is coming to a start. So Oysen ashes out the sage on the table. And Maddie's like, "Wait a minute, you have to like clean that. We have to keep it clean back here now, guys." And he's like, "It's all right, darling. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it." And he's like, "Oh my God, you're like literally gonna be fired right now."
So then we hear a song, and it's like, "Let's go, hands in the air, headed for the game. Let's go." The unofficial anthem of Republic Bar and Lounge.
So in case you guys are not buying that this is a totally LA Hollywood and only famous people come here, welcome Olivia from Southern Charm and some creepy friends that she has. And they're like,
oh my God, it's Olivia from Southern Charm.
Everyone drop what you're doing. Olivia from Southern Charms is at the door. Get there now. Swarm with bottles and free drinks.
So Oisin's like, Emmy, babe, you're going to show me some tricks or what? What am I supposed to do here tonight? Is there any kind of training? And she's like, I'll go order a bottle of Dom, okay? And then guess what? We're going to bring it out with glow sticks because that's what we do here. And he's like, wait a minute, what about the signs? Are we going to bring out the sign? And Brad, I think Joe goes, yeah, you know what? We should bring out a sign. And you know what it should say? Hold on, let me think about it. Superstars. That's what it should say.
That's good. Superstars, go for it, Joe. Go, do it. This is why we get
The
paid
poetry
the big
of
bucks.
Republic. Superstars. So Leva goes to see Leah, CEO, and her assistant Michelle in the green room. And she's like, okay, guys, does it like smell like weed in here? Do you even pretend to work here? They just said that Lucia lit sage every single night here, and you don't recognize the smell. Just
Yeah.
go home. Replace. I vote replace Leva with Leah, CEO.
Yeah. So Leah's like, oh, yeah, there's sage. I can tell because I'm a CEO and I hand out infractions. Well, Lucia's gone, so let the sage be gone too. Hi-ya. I just chopped it away.
Yeah, just got rid of sage. That's going in the handbook. And Leva's like, yeah, you know what else sage is? A fire hazard. And then he goes, yeah, pretty much.
We're on top of things now. So, you know what's a fire hazard? Things that were on fire once. So Leva's like, you know what? We just promoted Leah. To head boss. And I just call her the Hammer.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, Leah. You're the hammer. So just give a monologue to the camera. She's like, I don't really know how to do that. Just go ahead, Leah. Just make it up. You're a boss, okay? You're in rayon. And she's like, okay. Listen, I can do this because I'm not emotional. You know why? Because we're running a business. So let me do the dirty work so we can keep rocking and rolling the way we're supposed to. Infractions. It's like, yes, nailed it.
Leva's like, yeah, Leah was out in Vegas working some pretty big hotels. Yeah. You ever heard of the NGN? It's not the MGM, it's the NGN. Yeah, it's there too. And she worked it, okay? And we really fought to have her here. And she said, I don't know if I could leave being the manager of this buffet. And we said, come on, we'll make it worth your time. So she sets it straight, okay? You should have seen all the people that tried to eat the breakfast food when it was turning over to lunch. She wouldn't allow it because that's what she does. She's a boss. She's no nonsense. She's so efficient. She's like on it.
Yeah. You guys, no one can handle stress of Republic except for the woman who dealt with a seafood buffet all day. Seafood buffet. She's here, guys. We got her.
Yeah, we got her. So Leah's like,
So Leah's like, sage stinks, it's gross, and it's a mess. We got to nip that in the bud.
there's too much sage back here. We got to nip this in the bud before all the customers smell sage a little bit. So then, meanwhile, the VIP team is hard at work making the superstar sign. They're literally acting like they're doing a puzzle on Survivor, like $1 million is on this. And they're like putting the letters in there. They're like, superstars. Does it say superstars? Is this working? Does it look good? Is this good? We can go out. Can we publish this? Can this go? Are we locked? Are we locked in with superstars? Okay, let's do it.
And Maddie says they're all of our guests are superstars because all of our tables are superstars. It's like, you're special, just like everyone else. My Meemaw's favorite bumper sticker. So then we see a group of tacky, dried-haired girls partying, and one of the girls is telling Oysen, she's like, oh my God, you should do a shot with me. He's like, I want to do a shot. Can I do a shot? Maddie, can I do one? She's like, I'm walking away. You do whatever you want. I cannot see anything. And Emmy's like, oh my God, do not do a shot. You're going to lose your job. Totally. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's like, I got it. Oysen will be doing shots later this season.
He definitely will be. But this is also Emmy being like a responsible coworker as opposed to Maddie, who might be not setting up Ocean for success. Like he might get fired because she's being like, you do what you want to do instead of saying like, don't do this, you'll get fired. You know, I think they're trying to set that up a little bit.
Well, Emmy is coming for Maddie's gig, I think, right? Like Emmy's
Probably.
like, Maddie doesn't even care about anything that goes on at Republic, but I told Oisin not to drink, so I basically own this
And
place now.
and I would trust Emmy as a manager far more than Maddie. I mean, again, look at that apartment. It is immaculate. Look at where Maddie lives, okay? They couldn't even handle their charcuterie board. At one point, we didn't even talk about this. At one point, they had that charcuterie board sitting there, and what's his face just spins it, and like 3 olives go flying off onto the floor. This is not manager material here. If you can't even figure out the physics that go into rotating a charcuterie board.
So back
I'm
into
being
this like
serious.
meeting.
I'm not cracking jokes here. This is a serious thing for me.
Yeah, you're very pro clean apartment, you know. So we go
Not
back
that
into
I
the
have
meeting
one.
room, green room area, and Leah, who's just doing way too much for her first episode, just keeps pointing at the sage stain on the table over and over, like, I mean, sage. Can you believe it? There was sage there. So, and Leva's like, yeah, well, this is stressing me out. So I have friends that I need to go say hi to, so you can deal with it. And Lee's like, yeah, well, guess what? I got a sage stain on the table. I need to chomp some balls off over. I am furious. Taking care of business. Here I come, Leah CEO.
Just make sure the A-list stars at the front don't see the sage stain in the blue room, because that would be a disaster. We would never would want Olivia Flowers to be grossed out by this place. So then we see Bradley. He's hugging Olivia and some others, and he's like sitting with them. He's like sitting in the booth with them, and Leva's like, are you working or are you having fun right now? And he's like, both, maybe. She's like, no, no, you are a VIP team, which means you cannot be tending to the guests right now. You have to go do something else.
It's a very poorly constructed opening plot. It's hilarious. She's like, what? You're having fun when you're supposed to be partying with the guests? Okay, I'm going to work on it. Ask Leah, CEO, for some lines for me. So then Mia is with her guests, and she's like, guys, I want to drink with you and like party with you, but I'm not allowed to anymore because someone just got fired for drinking, and she's a single mom. So, I mean, listen, I'm at Republic for good vibes, and guess what this isn't? It's so not good vibes. That's what it is.
Yeah, sorry everyone. I have to mind my P's and Q's. You know, the guests are like, I don't care. You're not our friend.
Yeah,
We're
they're
not
like,
trying to
"What?"
drink with you.
Right. I know, like, all the guests are going to be sad that the employees aren't drinking out of their $100 champagne.
I know. I'm like, I literally spent this money for you to serve me, not to drink what you're serving me.
So
So,
they're all talking about how stressful it is not to drink. And Grace Lily's like, yeah, it's like when your parents went out of town and you throw a party, and then all of a sudden, like, their car comes at the driveway. That's how it feels like.
why do I feel like that happened a lot to Grace Lily? Because, her parents were like, hey, we're just going to go out to dinner. Woohoo, my parents are going out of town. No, Grace, they just went in town. So so then Lucia, who is fired, comes back to the club, which is like, why would you ever? So, except on these shows, of course, like this is where Kristen came back to Sir like a million times after she was fired. So here she is pulling the Kristen Doty thing, and Emmy hugs her and everything, and then TJ is like, oh, good, there's something for me to be persnickety about. Look, Lucia's here. Can you believe it? She came back here. Who wants to be judgy with me? Anyone? Just me?
He's like, I'm not sure I would be come back to the scene of the crime, but I mean, this soon, guys. And Chris goes, oh my God, Lucia's here? She got fired for drinking on the job. Call national security. Get her. Tackle her. So Lucia and Emmy talk, and Lucia's like, I have to talk to Leva. Like, I do not want to talk to Leva. Like, this is about to be like the hottest summer ever. So, like, I do have to talk to her. You never know what's going to happen this summer at Republic. It's going to be huge.
They're saying they're lowering the prices at Top Golf, so they're gonna have bigger people than ever before, and they're all gonna come here afterwards. So Emmy's like, I would be crawling out of my skin right now if I was you, and I was about to talk to Leva. Oh my God, she's such a big, important CEO. How could you even be doing this right now, Lucia? So then Leah's walking around being the CEO, still really angry about
she
the
is.
sage.
Yeah, she's like checking all the tables. She's like, is there smudge stain here? There better not be, because that's disgusting. It's for deviants. And so Leva is back watching her video screens and she goes, who is behind that bar? And Leah comes into the office and she's like, sorry to interrupt, but hold on. And she starts like doing this pointing, like, you know how people like point and then they're like telling you off with their finger? She does that when she talks. She's like, I just did a lap and Lucia is here, point.
And Leva's like, ugh. And so Lucia's there at the bar and she just keeps on saying how she just wants to talk to Leva. She just wants to talk to Leva. So Leva's like, I don't know what she thinks we can do for her, aside from rehire her because we have all the power. But like in my mind, there's just nothing left to talk about.
And so Lucy is talking to TJ and he's like, I guess if I were you, like I would send her a text in the morning after you vacuumed. And she's like, I haven't received any communication from Leva. I guess, okay, but then send her a text or an email after you lube up your Dyson and make sure that it's in working order. And she's like, I've been sending emails to talk about my termination. Nothing. Wow. You're basically like land in California right now. Faulted. Very faulted. I'm not really sure what you want me to say, but I'll just give you this look instead.
So Leah's like, okay, well, guess what? We've received a couple of emails from her. It seems like she's unable to understand her termination, and it's not negotiable, which is a phrase I learned in boss school, which I am, CEO.
And Leva says, well, if we brought her back, like, what kind of example would that be to the rest of the staff? And she's like, yeah, right. It would be chaos. It wouldn't be right. I mean, pants are dresses now. You know, clouds are rainbows. I mean, what are you going to do? Topsy-turvy, upside down. We can't handle this. We're not going to do it. And as for the rest of the employee morale, we have to nip it in the bud. We are going to nip this in the point circle bud. She's really dedicated, this Leah CEO.
Leah's like, you drank and you're caught. And guess what? There's a new sheriff in town and she knows a thing or two about shrimp cocktail. So Leva's like, yeah. She's like, it's against the rules. And Leva's like, it's against the rules. Yeah, it's against the rules. It is against the rules.
Nip it in the bud. Right now, nip it. So then Maddie's outside listening at the office door, and Grace Lily comes over and she's like, hi, what's going on over here? Shh, I'm listening at the door. I won't listen at the door. Maddie's like, she's talking shit. She goes, who's she? It's Leva's office, Grace.
So meanwhile, Leah's still in there, shoulder pads. She's like, there's a bad decision. There was a bad decision that was made. And unfortunately, there's consequences. And we caught it. Some would say we nipped it. And if it were a flower, it had a bud. And guess what? That bud has been nipped. Some would say nipped in the bud. And she's gone. She's gone.
Lucia in the club. And she's like, oh my God, finally I had a chance to stop away from all that not drinking I'm doing. So what's going on with you, girl? And she's like, oh, you know, just checking on the state of the state. She goes, yeah. Well, you know me, I respect big balls. And she's like, you think I have big balls right now? She goes, yeah. You're coming to talk to Leva? And let me tell you, she may not be out here, but she is in the building right now.
Big news. The boss of this place is in the place. So.
Because Leva is being a wuss. She's like sitting out there, seeing her on the video screen, but like refusing to come out to like confront it. You know, she's just hiding in her office, like a wuss.
Maybe the office was the thing that's new, because Leva said something was new, and maybe because I think actually the office formerly was not on the premises. The cameras are definitely new. I think the office used to be like in a different building. You have to go up a staircase or something. So
yeah, she had a place down the street that she rented last year. Yeah, I remember that plot where she's like, I rented a place because like I need an office.
So Leva says, telling Leah, you know, I would like an apology. Like, how about, sorry I disrespected your business. Like, I don't know if she thought that maybe because she has a relationship with me that she could do that, but nobody gets special treatment at the end of the day. Know what I mean? Unless you're Olivia Flowers. Please give her a bottle of Dom Perignon from you. Thank you very much.
Hold on. Let me just answer this call. The caller ID says Bud. Let me say it. Bud. Nipped. You are nipped. You are nipped. So then Mia and Lucy are talking, and Mia's like, I'll bet she's in that back room somewhere. Let me check. I got you, girl. So then
You mean the office? You mean Leva's office? I bet Leva's in Leva's office.
thank God for Mia. So Bradley is asking where Maddie is. And so this is where they're all hatching their plan, like to make Maddie look stupid. So Bradley's like, where's Maddie? And Emmy's like, I don't know. She's like the manager of this place and she's nowhere to be found. And he goes, yeah, well, that's not surprising.
So now Leva, back to Leva. She's like, do you think we should have a staff meeting to remind everyone of the rules? And Leah's like, the rules of Republic, Garden, and Lounge, of which I am the CEO. And by the way, you can't have a garden without flowers. You can't have flowers without buds. You can't have buds without nipping them. Yes, I do. Let's have a meeting.
Cut back to Emma, just Emmy being just like continue on her like weird plot. She's like,
You know what? We need to talk to Maddie about keeping her personal life and her private life separate. Because she crosses those lines every goddamn day.
like, okay, whoa,
Why is she? What is she on right now? It felt a lot, by the way. When I was watching this, I felt like the show was at like a 10, and I had no idea why it was at a 10. Like everyone was like hyped up and angry about something, but like I was like, "Whoa, you guys just started the episode. What's going on here?"
It's so funny. And Bradley's like, yeah. Well, now that Maddie and Trevor are back together, she's been living in Delusion Land. Yeah, we know what
Thanks for the
Delulu is,
yeah.
Bradley.
Thanks for the clarification.
And he goes,
Leah's like, what does
"She's
that
become-"
mean?
He goes, she's become very complacent at work. Is it surprising? No, but it doesn't surprise me. Well, you're
Thank
just
you.
answering your own questions.
Is it surprising? No, but it doesn't surprise. Well, you don't say but. Don't say but as if you're going to change direction in the logic. You should say, is it
It's so
surprising? No,
funny.
and it continues to not surprise me.
So then Maddie is with me in the kitchen now, and she's like,
Okay. I got a little wind from what was going on from behind the door. And Leva wants an apology from Lucia.
and Mia goes,
Ha ha! She wants Lucia to apologize for what?
and she's like, drinking. She's like,
Ha ha! Well, I'll tell you this. No fucking way. And I gotta ask, what's the hypocrisy here?
and Leva comes, she's like right behind them. This place is maybe 5 feet big, this whole place. So Leva comes out and she's like, hi, how are you guys? And she's doing her like, I'm looking at my phone right now because I'm very busy. Hi guys, you doing something? Swiping on my phone, so.
If you guys are back here, then who's in front? Ha 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 ha. And so then Mia's just like, I'm angry at my boss. And so she goes, Joe's out there. He's holding it down. And so Leva's like, well, then why do you guys look so emo? And Mia says, you were looking for an apology from Lucia for drinking on the job. Which, by the way, Mia, way to like blow up Maddie's spot that Maddie was just eavesdropping in the office a second ago.
And now they're having like a standoff because she's going to tell Leva off, which I don't know where she really thought this was going to go. So Leva says, I mean, yeah, like her apology would mean a lot. I mean, like if I was in her position, I mean, like somebody's like, you know, helped me, like somebody's like employed me, or they've like brought me back or like brought me opportunities. And he says, brought her back from what? You mean from having a baby? She goes, yeah. She goes, okay. So after maternity leave, basically, like what normal companies do for women, what the fuck is Leva doing, by the way, as well in this scene?
Mia had a very fair point there. So Leva's like, what are you doing? And Mia's like, I'm upset. She goes, what are you doing? She goes, I'm upset. It's the season premiere and I have to be upset about something. So she goes, well, what are you upset about? She goes, about the hypocrisy you are showing as a boss.
And that was like, hypocrisy? What are you talking about? Like, normally people give birth and then they're put into the meat grinder. Like, I didn't make the rules. That's just how the world works. I mean, look around. How many mothers do you see in Charleston? They're all dead. Okay. So, like, and by the way, there's no hypocrisy. If you're in the back of the house and you're drinking, you're fired. And that's the rule. Have you read the manual for being hired?
Leah wrote it. Leah wrote it on Claris Works.
Here's how to be hired at Republic. Here's the manual.
Don't drink. Signed, Leah. Otherwise, it will be nipped in the bud. So Maddie's like, Mia, stop. This is your boss. Just like chill out a little. Just be like a little bit more like Trevor. Just be like super chill and kind of sexy. And Leva's like, if you drink back here, you're done. And Mia goes, well, I just don't get it. I don't understand. Which, by the way, Mia, this is like not a point you should be arguing because even though I said at the earlier of the podcast, it doesn't seem to me a big deal if there's drinking on the job. Still, that being said, it's a fairly standard thing that you're not allowed to drink on job. So the fact that she's pushing back is a little like, use your soft skills a little bit more. Okay.
Well, she's doing that thing, I think, where I don't know if we've all done it. I have, where I'm like, I'm going to fight with my boss. I'm going to tell my boss off. It never goes well. I've tried it multiple times. It has never gone well. So Leva's like, yeah, if you drink back here, you're done. She goes, yeah, I don't understand. And Mia says, employees have drank back here so many times. And she goes, oh, really? Well, who did then? Like, who did I keep here that was drinking back here? And Mia just looks around and there's no one there. So she goes, me. She goes, oh, really? Then you're gone too, Mia. You're fired. Clock out. Good night. Bye.
Not Mia's brightest moment. Okay. At least pick someone you don't like.
So stupid, but at least Mia was smart enough to get Leva admitting on camera, like, yeah, I brought that girl back after maternity, like after giving birth. Like, I'm a good person.
Yeah, I've done great things. So Mia's like, you're being hypocritical as a boss. Leva's like, you don't need to work here. You said you drank on the shift. You're done. If someone else comes up and tells me that, they're done too. And Mia's like, you're not going to fuck with me. No, you're not. It's like, Mia, you're fired. It's done.
You've already been fired, Mia. And she says that. She's like, Mia, you're fired. Like, you're not an employee any longer. So, like, your butt just got nipped. So, and Mia goes, okay, then we're done. And she goes, okay. And also, you don't need to be in the back of the building. Go out. Go.
And then, of course, Emmy's listening and like, whoa. So she's like Angela Lansbury snooping. Like, what? I just learned something. So Mia leaves. And Maddie's like, wow, I would never talk to my boss like that, ever. It's like, well, you didn't do a whole lot to sort of rein her in, did you?
So then, well, she did tell her, this is your boss, so maybe you shouldn't. Mia was just on one. So then Mia storms out and she goes past Lucia and she goes, oh, no, now we're both fired. And, she fired me because I said I had a shot during a shift. And so everyone like starts freaking out. And then Leah goes up to Leva and she's like, are we okay here? Are we okay? And Leva's like, she was just like, I drank on my shift all the time, and then you let me stay here. And I'm like, no, I didn't, because I didn't know you drank on your shift. That girl is never going to work for me in any capacity, anywhere, ever again. Consider her someone who just gave birth. Unemployable.
Leva tells us, I hate firing people. I'm not some awful person, but we're running a business here, and it's very important for me that the other incompetent people are not distracted by a different group of incompetent people. Sorry, it's just the way it goes.
So then the girls are talking outside to me and Lucia, and Grace Lily's saying, I mean, I don't agree with it whatsoever, but I think that, like all of us, like I think that we all kind of feel the way you feel. Is that true? No one knows what she's talking about. And Emmy's like, this is bullshit. I'm shook. So then we see TJ talking to Maddie, and Maddie's like, yeah, Mia was speaking to her in a way that like she really gave Leva no choice but to fire her.
And then Oshin's like, oh, I've been in the club scene my entire life, and we've always been able to have a little dabble here and there. So there's no leeway or anything. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And Joe's like, oh, I do think the rules are like important, but like I've created this image of people like being able to come into the club to party with me. So like now that I can't do that anymore, like who am I? I'm not Joey Bottles anymore. I'm Joey Water Bottles. I love his existential crisis.
Yeah, like just Joey Water
Who
Bottles.
am I? Who am I?
So Mia is still going on outside. She's like, well, my friendship with Lucia means more to me than this job. I couldn't give a fuck, really. And Grace Lily's like, yeah, well, there was a good friend. She goes, I'm leaving. And she just like storms off, and Lucia stays. Like, yeah, Lucy doesn't really feel the same. She's gonna get her damn job back. But bye.
She's like, I hear you have an opening, Leva. So now it's the next day. People are waking up and everything. And the big thing here is we see Will's butt on screen for a very long time because his hand is in a sling. And so Emmy has to help him get his pants on.
Yeah. So then Grace is smudging and she's on her balcony and she's like,
Please, God, protect me from feeling a lot of different energies.
could you be more
Just
specific?
one energy today. Hi. Dear God, I don't know what's going on with the energies today, but I looked out at my flower garden and all the buds seem to have been nipped. I don't know what's going on, but please protect me from that energy.
So then we go to Oysen looking in his mirror, and he's like, I'm still beautiful. Thank God. And then we get a song.
I want to radiate the sun before I burn out bright in my supernova.
Every song on this show is about how young they are and how it's all going to end soon. And I love that Trixie Monocle has learned. You know, she's like,
You're young now, you'll be old tomorrow. Today is up, tomorrow you're a slag.
it's like, damn, geez, Trixie, lighten up.
And I also like that the next lyric is I'm building my empire. Like I love that the song's like really dedicated to this like imagery about suns and stars and supernovas, but also like I'm building an empire too. Like it's like one thing doesn't really have to do with the other. But sure, go for it.
So then next day is a meeting. So everybody's coming to do this group meeting about not drinking. And Will is there in his sling, hot. And then Emmy is dressed in the same fabric as Joey's velvet headboard, which is weird. And Mikkel's there. We haven't seen him. And
Yeah, I
there's
thought he
new
was fired
girls
for a
named
second.
Aria. Say it again?
Yeah. I thought Mikhail was fired for a second because he wasn't even in the first half of the show.
Yeah, but he's not. He's here. And so Leah starts it. Leva starts it. Leah's in like some kind of a formal ball gown, which doesn't really make...
It's all they had at Boss Emporium, unfortunately.
I guess it was like, yeah, this is when I'm nominated for Best Boss of the Year. So it's the gala. This is the Holiday Inn gala I'm going to.
This dress is made from buds because I nipped so many of them. So
Okay, so Leva's saying, okay, guys, obviously it's not been the best week, but like we lost Amia, we lost Lucia, but guess what? You know what Leah always says? Leah, say it.
Nip it.
No, not that one. The other thing.
Nip it.
The other thing, sage is for slut. The other thing.
No,
Okay, Leah says don't fire yourself.
Breakfast $12.99, all you can eat. Yes, that one.
It's like, there's nothing we can do when you guys break the rules. And that's just how it goes. And Leah goes, I'm going to make it crystal clear right now. Drinking is never permitted in Republic Garden and Lounge. And we are not going to allow that behavior any longer. Not in this garden, not in this lounge.
Don't fire yourself. Thank you, Leah, for finally saying it. Really great expression. So they're of course like, oh my God, like, you know, like Emmy's like, you know, like you think our best sales nights are when everyone's sober? And Bradley's like, I mean, they're gonna order another bottle because they want to party with us. That's what they want to do. So then, and Grace is like, don't ruin the vibe. It's wavy, baby. So they're all upset because it's all ruined by Leah.
Yeah. And Leva's like, I want you to make money because guess what? The next few years for this company are going to be epic. They are going to be epic. And Leah's like, guys, we love you all. You are all rock stars, and this is a family. I can't believe she didn't add that because that is such the restaurant manager thing to say. Like, guys, we're all family here. Let's not forget.
I read on a boss website that you should tell your employees that they're all rock stars. And so guess what? You're all rock stars, which I think means we have a lot of good morale around here. So anyway, consider these buds nipped and let's go out and kill it. We're a family.
Yeah, and Joey Marbles is like, this job is like not some side hustle for me. I didn't go back to college because my passion for this is my career. I'm Joey Bottles, and I can't lose that. Dun, 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 dun. Like, yes, Rocky. hopefully Joey Marbles can have tequila at work again. It's a real inspirational story, guys.
You know, when faced with the decision of furthering my studies and setting myself up for a career in really anything or making signs that say superstars, I knew what I had to do. I had to make the sign. It's my passion.
I'm choosing the one
Superstars.
that relies on my good looks and youth. Because what other decision is there really?
I had to use the one that relied on my ability to hold a sparkler up in the air, pretty high up.
So
I
Bradley
needed to do.
goes to do his personal training at a high-low gym. It's called High-Low. And he's got a client named Sammy who is just not prepared to be on TV at all. I mean, it is just so sad. So Sammy's like, hi, oh my God, I'm so glad to work out with you. Like, I've really needed to have my ass kicked because I went out with my girlfriends and whoa, dude, we live it up and have a hot ass girl time living it up on the town. By the way, do you know that guy who drives people around on his bike? He was hitting on me and like trying to make out with me. Maddie, who? Maddie's boyfriend? Who's Maddie?
Yeah. And he's like, oh my God, Maddie's boyfriend, Trevor, they've been living together for a while now. Wow. You have something to say about them? And she's like, oh, I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I hadn't watched the show before. Oh, well, he was with his boys and buying me drinks the whole time. And I said, well, at least stop the cab first. And then we were touching each other. And then one thing led to another, ...
And he's like,
make
did you
out?
make out? She goes, yeah. Serious? You would have no idea that he had a girlfriend. I feel so bad. I wish I had just like seen her on a TV show so I could have known about it before any of this happened. This is crazy.
He's like, it's karma. She did that to herself. I had this great girlfriend. We were perfect. And then Maddie told her I was in the back alley behind Republic getting my dick sucked next to the raccoons in the trash. I love a good backstory.
And I love that it's the extra horrifying. I was in the alley getting my dick sucked by the raccoons and the trash.
It's not lost on me that Kayla broke up with me because Maddie wanted to tell lies. Oh, it's all for Kayla.
And Sammy's like,
Sammy's-
do you want to see the text? Because I'm going to show them to you right now. You get the camera over here. Do it with your iPhone, too. He's like, I'm totally taking a picture. Because you know why? Karma's a nasty, fickly bitch.
Let me get a picture of this text. And by the way, the text says, had a fun time last night. So he's like, hey, Maddie, this is why you got cheated on twice. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, this guy's such an asshole. And also, he probably was getting his dick sucked in the alley. What was the end of that? Wasn't his thing just like, why would you tell her that? She's like, because I saw what I saw. Wasn't
Yeah.
that the whole fight?
It was, and then he had to defend it. I mean, he probably was getting his dick sucked, but I mean, Trevor's also clearly still cheating on Maddie. But he's basically like, if you're going to ruin my relationship, I'm going to ruin yours, which is really,
Yeah.
a great lesson to be learned from Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah. So now we see Mia driving around town and she's behind a bike carriage and she's pissed off. She's like, get out of the way. As we all are, I mean, it's
Yep.
very much how the entire cast feels towards Trevor.
Yeah. I saw the other day, I was driving down Melrose Avenue and a scooter and a motorcycle like basically crashed into each other. And I just missed it. Like, I was like, why is this entire lane of cars stopped? And like, I pulled up just in time to see like the scooter kid and the motorcyclist. They lifted each other up and then they shook hands and drove off together. And I was like, oh, I would have liked to have seen that. Which is just my point of saying, the scooter is really getting in the way of everything. Like, I would have loved to have seen the scooter kid get hit by a vehicle. Would have been great. What am I talking about?
Jeez. I rode a Vespa for years, right? What the hell?
No,
man?
the scooter, like the bird scooter. The little
my
bird
gosh.
scooter.
I love
Stay on the
those
sidewalk. You should not be on that thing in a road where people are going 30 miles per hour and you're on there with your backpack and no helmet. And then we all have to go 3 miles per hour because you decided to go in the lane and we care about keeping you alive, So
I
I was
remember
like,
when they used to have those billboards in LA that said every lane is a bike lane. Oh my God, those used to
No.
infuriate me. Those, oh, I was like, no, they're not. Every lane is not a bike lane. Because then the bicyclist would literally be in the middle of every lane. Like, every lane's a
Yeah.
bike lane. Get the fuck out of the road, people.
At least bicyclists can achieve a certain speed, okay? Although they don't always, and that's what drives me nuts too. It's like, okay, listen, I support green, options for transportation, etc. Ride your bike, but also like if you're riding your bike, put some effort into it, okay? Keep up, okay? Don't go like 1 mile per hour. Because people are on there like just like
This isn't your
on a
this isn't your
stroll.
neighborhood, okay? This isn't like
Okay, if
your
you get in the
leisurely
lane,
stroll.
yeah, go as fast as you can. You'll get also some nice cardio out of it too. But don't get this is not a time for just a leisurely bike ride in this 30-mile-per-hour lane. Okay. So anyway, the
Yeah.
point was I
Okay.
was
So now we go see what's
I was
going
mad.
on at Maddie and Trevor's house, and they're like the couple, you guys, and we know because like he's squirting whipped cream in her mouth, and she's laughing, and she's like, you know what? He's the only person who gives me that. He's my like big love. He's my big love. So then we go to Grace Lily's house, and she's talking to her cat Fergie, and she's like, "You want your tarot cards read, Fergie? Let's see what the stars got in line for you. We got the Empress and the Sun. That means I rule my emotions, and they don't rule me."
Wait, wait, is Grace Lily giving a reading to her cat or to herself? That feels like that's so Grace Lily to be like, I'm gonna give you your tarot card reading. Oh, look at that! I'm gonna be rich. Just read my cards.
And she's
Yeah.
like,
So
this year's all about self-care. I just want good energy. Anything negative gets shaken away because I'm trying to shake that ass. Yeah, get that cash. Ding. Does Grace Lily make any sense to anybody? Like, first she's giving a reading to the cat, then the readings to herself. Then she wants self-care. Then she's shaking away negativity. Then she's shaking her ass from it. It's like one just kind of thing strung to the next. Ding.
So over in Joey Marble's place, he gets a call from his mom. She's like, Joey, I mean, yesterday you didn't pick up, and then I texted you and nothing. I just need proof of life. You're acting like suddenly you're not allowed to drink on the job anymore. And he's like, sorry, Ma, I'm working a double later. Oh, okay, well, I don't even know how you do it. I mean, here I'm like, how does one man have the ability to do things like stand at a door and then momentarily go in the back room and write a sign that says superstars? You are something else, my son.
Yeah. So then over at Emmy's very clean apartment, which you love, Mia comes over and they make some small talk or whatever. And Emmy's talking about how she's so busy taking Will to physical therapy all over town. And she's like, last time I was on track for like happy wife, happy life. But this year is Will in a sling and I don't have a ring.
Pause for laughter. So, yeah, she's gonna open up a bottle of wine for her and Mia to enjoy, and they're just like they're hanging out. So Emmy is like, she's like, so I guess let this be a warning to us. Lucia was lesson number one: don't drink on the job, and lesson number two is don't yell at the boss. Am I right? Remember that lesson that you didn't anticipate?
And Mia's like, well, I was really disrespectful to Leva. I guess I can see that now. She says, yeah, well, you want to set up a meeting with Leva? She says, no. You know how, like, after an argument or heated discussion, you think back and say, I wish I did that better, or I wish I did this better. Nope, not thinking that. I'm on a righteous high because I'm in finance. I'm on a finance high, so...
Yeah, this isn't my main income. I'm not some loser who thinks this is their career and just gets all their money from working at Republic. Stupid faces. Emily's like, oh, thanks. So she's like, well, if Maddie had stood up for you, I think this would have been a different story, but she didn't. She doesn't stand up for her employees. And like, I've lost a lot of respect for her. So she's like, let me find out a way to make this Maddie's fault.
Yeah, and then Mia's like, wait, yeah, I am disappointed how she handled this entire dilemma, and I'm getting heated now just thinking about it. And he's like, yeah, she's been with the company now, what, 4 years? And like, I feel like when she started dating Trevor, she lost her mojo with the company. And Mia goes, great point, Emmy. She goes, yeah. I mean, what is she? She's the face of Republic, remember?
I like
What
that
does that
Mia's
have to
now
do
like,
with Mia drinking it? Like Mia yelling at Leva at work and calling her a hypocrite and then saying, I drink at work? What does any of this have to do with that?
I'm so mad that Maddie didn't tell me to shut up when I couldn't stop talking. What damn. So Emmy's like, yeah, Maddie claims to be the bitch who runs this bitch, but she doesn't even care what we even do anymore. She just wants to be with Trevor 24/7. So
Yeah.
Emmy's,
So now they
Emmy's
give
like,
each other like evil smiles. They're like, ha 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 ha, let's get Maddie.
yeah. Although you're gonna have to get Maddie more than me because I'm working in finance and not at, the club anymore.
So
So
now the next song, Summer Young, we're gonna live forever. We're gonna live forever. I think Trixie Monocle is just sitting there with a bottle of whiskey crying as she writes this music, We're
Yeah.
so young.
remember the days. So yeah, there's like everyone's getting ready for the day shift, and Maddie gives us a little insight into her craft. She goes, "Day Club Sunday is my favorite day of the week because to work all night and then wake up and do it again to maximize sales. Wow, I love a good darty day party, darty, yeah."
Day and a party. Wow. So then Maddie is talking to a customer and she's like, what do you do? And she's like just holding a blowing bubble machine. It's like blowing bubbles everywhere. She's like, oh my God, you're a DJ? I'm a DJ too. What? I am. I'm a DJ.
He's like, "Wow." You know how many times she does that? I feel like she did that all last season. You're a DJ? I'm a DJ. I'm going to see Dan Summit in Florida because I'm a DJ. It's like time to give it up. So now Taylor stops by. Taylor, not there to promote Day Chaser, just because she's a VIP. And she's talking to Joe, and she's like, wow, Maddie's so hot. She's like the hottest. Imagine if she liked you. Ha 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 ha. Ha. Bye.
So Mikhail comes in with some friends and they're doing that leading with the phone thing where you like come in and you're just like doing the like Leva was doing earlier, just like I'm really busy because I have my phone out right now. And he's telling us he only works once a week now because he has another job. But when he comes, he parties and he shakes some ass and pops some bottles. And then his girlfriend is like spanking his ass. And he's like, yeah. So then we go to shots of Taylor being really thirsty and lifeless at the same time. I don't feel bad for Taylor. I'm done feeling bad for Taylor.
They did a really bad job of recruiting Southern Charm VIP. It's like, was Craig not around? Like, what's up with this? Like, the Olivia and Taylor as the special guest stars, it's just not as strong as it has
Yeah,
been in
they
the
can
past.
only get those two. Yeah, the other ones are like, we're not helping Leva. Hell no. So then we get Joe taking shots of soda water with the bridal party. And he's like, hey, guys, I know you guys thought I was taking the shot right now, but it was really soda water because I'm not allowed to take shots.
I love this announcement. And she goes, oh, well, I thought I saw chest hair, but you drank only soda water, so I guess not. Pussy! She's like, hey, whoa, that's a little hard on me. So then,
But also literally
Matt,
does not have one spot of hair on him. So we've seen. We saw the
he's
opening
very
scene.
smooth. He's very smooth. So Maddie's then she's telling a group of girls. She's like, sorry, like there's rules here, and by the way, everyone here knows each other, and everyone slept with each other, so that's the rules of this town.
Yeah. They're just like, what's Charleston like? She's like, this is what Charleston is like. Everyone's fucked each other. And that's it. They're like, oh. So then Brad goes back to he goes to TJ at the bar and he's like, so one of my clients told me that she met Trevor out all night and made out with him. And then he was hitting her up all night, blowing up her phone, trying to get her to come home with him. And TJ's like, oh my God, that is fucked. What? Sorry. Just vacuuming right now. Can we finish this later?
dust.
Really want to vacuum.
Brad's like, okay, well, since you didn't ask, here, I'll show you the text. Like, here, check it out. So they look at it, and TJ's like, oh my God. He's like, this is going to be a shitstorm. I'll need 2 vacuums to clean it up, okay? And I am here for it. So they are like, of course, so excited that they can, basically, they have some vague evidence that Trevor cheated, so they can, go break up this relationship.
So back in the kitchen, Maddie's back there, and like, what are you doing, bud? Cleaning my shoes. So, how are you and Trevor? She's like, good, good. I just feel like we're at that point, like where like we just don't like date for fun anymore. You know what I mean? Like now we're like dating. And he goes, yeah, dating for fun's like stupid, right? Just yeah, it's like so dumb. So now like we're happier and we're closer than ever. Know what I mean, Bradley? And he's just staring at her, chomping gum.
We're at that place where like we put like whipped cream in each other's mouth. It's kind of like great. I'm charcuterie for breakfast. So Brad's like, well, just want to make sure because one of my clients came up to me and said that Trevor's texting her multiple times. They made out and everything like that. So, so she's like, yeah, I already knew about the text messages. So like nothing happened, like whatever. He was like apologetic. So already like, wait, how would you already know about the text messages? Like what? Huh? I'm confused.
So wait, why? So was he coming clean because he knew he did something wrong in front of people who were probably going to tattletale on him? Or do you have access to his phone? What's going on? I hope it's B, because you should.
Yeah.
So when you're dating Trevor, you know what I mean? And so she's like, well, I don't have time for Bradley and this bullshit. He just wants me unhappy. And then Brad's like, I mean, did he leave out the part where he was like making out with her and trying to grind on her? And Emmy's listening. She's like, look at me wiping down a dish, even though we don't have dishes here.
Sorry, just putting up those Christmas decorations a few months early. Can never get ahead of it too much.
She's holding a dish up to her ear. It's like, darn.
So Brad's like, oh, I thought you knew that, Maddie. They made out at the bar. So do you not believe me? And she's like, he was making out with her? Oh my God. He goes, you should trust someone. If you don't trust them, you should be done with your boyfriend. So then she's like all mad.
Yeah. She's like, fucking liar. Hell no, fucking liar. So she storms out, and Emmy's just like doing that pulling her hair thing that people do on these shows where they're like, oh my God, I'm crazy. Are my extensions still there? So then in the smoking alley, the Sir smoking alley, she starts like calling Trevor over and over again. And it's like, hey, ding, ding. I'm on a bicycle right now. Ding, ding. Brr. Almost just got run over, actually. Leave me a voicemail.
And so she's texting saying, where the fuck are you? Pick up the fucking phone. And then she leaves a voicemail. She's all angry. And she goes, fuck this shit. I gotta go. So she picks up a shovel. There's like a random, like large shovel there. Like she's gonna like, you know, do some gardening. And she picks up the shovel and then just like heads out. So what is she gonna do with this shovel? And she's driving off. And Emmy, of course, is like under the car, like Cape Fear style, like just working on your muffler.
So she runs off with the shovel, and Emmy sees her, and she goes, if I had done that, I would be fucking gone. And Bradley's like, yeah, damn right. Where's Joe? Get Joe over here. So Joe, Maddie just left because Trevor made out with one of my clients. And Joe's like, wait a minute, what? Are you sure that they made out? And he goes, yeah. And then we cut to Maddie in her car going,
Idiot. Fucking idiot.
So then Brad, Joe, and Emmy and TJ are talking, and TJ is like, tell me everything. Tell me, show me on the vacuum where Trevor hurt Maddie. And Emmy is like, okay, so Bradley just told me that Maddie that Trevor cheated, and then she left with a shovel. Like, no way.
And Bradley goes, she just clocked out. Which I love that they're trying to make Maddie this irresponsible, terrible hag of a human being who doesn't deserve her job. But even when they try to get her so furious that she storms off the set, which she did, she still clocks out. Bradley's like, yep, she was super pissed. She took a shovel. She married some ketchups on her way out. Asshole.
Leah's like, she took our shovel. That is stealing from the property. And guess what? We're going to nip that in the bud. She is fired. You cannot steal the shovel.
So Maddie is driving, and she's like, oh, he has a nice TV? Well, that's about to get smashed. She's like vaping out the window. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get that TV. So then Joe's like, well, then at least this loser might be out of our fucking life for good. Like, every negative thing about her is because of him. And Bradley's like, yeah, you know what? If you want to put it on someone else, that's fine. But she made those choices on her own. She's in denial.
So she gets to the house that she lives in with Trevor, And then when she's holding the shovel, she's going to bring the shovel inside the house. And then she walks in, but the door is locked. And I guess she doesn't have keys to her own house. Is that the thing? Or maybe she left in such a haste that she left the keys behind. But either way, she's trying that door and she can't get in to her own house yet again. So she calls. And then this time he answers, which is like the worst time to answer because now she's outside with the shovel.
Right. Well, now he was avoiding it on purpose because he knows she's shooting today, but now he sees her at the door. He's like, oh shit, now I have to answer. So he opens the door and he's like, okay, you can come in, but they can't, meaning the cameras. And she's like, what the fuck, Trevor? And he goes, take your mic off. She's like, no, step away from the door. And he does. And then they shut it and you just hear her going, you were making out with some ugly fucking hoe. He's like, I didn't do anything. Fuck you. I fucking picture getting married to you and having kids with you. I mean, you haven't fucking changed.
Because I didn't cheat on you. I just made out with a girl at the bar. He doesn't say that part, but that's in my mind. And she's like, you're a fucking liar. Because I haven't. I promised you. You're making a big decision right now because I didn't do anything. I'm like, well, if you didn't cheat on her, then why did you not want the camera crews in for this part of the conversation, sir?
Yeah, he's a lying. You are a lying, sir. And she's like, oh, God, I don't know. You can even look me in the eyes. How could you do this to me the morning after you gave me charcuterie?
Because I haven't done a single thing. She's like, I just want to be happy. Ma'am, if you're going to bring a shovel into the house, I better hear some things breaking. Like, I want you slamming on coffee tables. I want you slamming lamps. I want the whole thing. I mean, don't hit him. Violence is never the answer, but breaking shit in your apartment would have been wonderful.
I know this is supposed to be art. You know, that's like Chekhov's shovel. Like when Chekhov said, if you have a gun, the gun has to go off. You can't just have a gun. You can't introduce a gun into a show and then it just never goes off. Where's the shovel? What's the shovel going to do?
She's like, oh, I forgot to mention after I yell at Trevor, I do actually have plans to to do some digging somewhere else. That's all. It was purely coincidental. So that was the premiere. It was a little extra, but it was silly. I enjoyed it. It was a breath of fresh air, you know?
Loved it. Yeah.
Excited to see what happens.
We have no idea what we're covering. We're not getting screeners for this show, so we don't know. It makes it harder because it makes like one part of the week like bloody hell. So we don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll keep covering it because we really like it. But there's so many shows on Bravo, and we'll be here every day, forever, doing this. So just keep coming back. Check us out on video, on Crappens On Demand, and bonus episodes on Patreon because Vanderpump Rules time is back. So, guys, it's about to be time for some more Pump Rules action at the end of John's. And we're going to do that trailer on our bonus this week. So, thanks so much for being here, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.